Welcome back, Festival Tales fam. Take two.
Take two. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We're having a Monday. We're having a case of the Mondays over here, but we're here to bring back your Monday and bring up the vibe on your Monday. So welcome back. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, all that stuff. And submit your story. So we were talking about earlier how Festival Tales podcast may induce some serotonin for your day. Not approved by the FDA or anything, but you know,
studies are in the making right now. They're coming out with that data pretty soon here. So
yeah, for legal reasons, we can't claim
yeah,
that.
we can't
but
claim that yet.
Reminiscing on festival stories, submitting your stories, and having us read them is always a great way to reminisce and whatnot. So get your guys' stories in. Today we got a couple of new submissions, so I was super excited.
Woo!
And of course, I saw one was submitted for me to read about Electric Forest. So you guys know I just had to read this one. So
where's my Lost Lands fam at? Because I haven't had one Lost Lands story yet. I'm still waiting to hear from anyone out there that's interested in basshead music and dubstep that could just give me a story to read. But hey, we'll do our fourth Electric Forest story. Here we go.
I know we've got so many.
I'm not salty. It's fine. No, I'm kidding. I'm
salty.
excited. I'm excited to hear another one.
Here we go. So, Electric Forest 2018 weekend 2. This was also the weekend I went. It was my first forest, so
weekend 2.
I was there. She says my first festival or even concert / show, which is like so crazy to me.
That's just nuts. From 0 to 100.
Jumping
real
off
quick.
The deep end. Right after the thunderstorm, which if you went that year, that was on the 4th day. We can get more into that. But she said, when we were allowed to re-enter after the evacuation, me and my friend were walking past the Psychedelic Chapel. I know it as the chapel, but Psychedelic Chapel, here for it.
When you're in a certain state, it might seem more psychedelic. Might see that glow around the chapel. Ooh.
Yeah, right? All the colors.
Is it lit up? Sorry, not to interrupt.
What?
Is the chapel like lit up all nice, and is that why they might have said like a psychedelic church?
Colorful.
Chapel?
It has some like murals around it, I'd say.
Okay.
It gets lit up at night too. She says this beautiful woman comes up to us, waving us into the church. She didn't say a word, just motioned us in. Obviously, we were curious, so we followed. We get in, and she brings us to like the backstage area where a group of male dancers are changing their costumes and makeup. And another woman comes up to us and says, "Are we ready to get married?" And we start laughing our heads off. They put this seriously 80s puffy wedding dress on me over my outfit and a vest and top hat on my friend and bring us out on stage. Now, IDK, if you can include this in the pod, but we were tripping hard. Like, can't form sentences.
Yes!
So the officiant asks if we have vows prepared, and we can't stop laughing. So he just says he'll make them up for us. He goes on to make up a story about how my friend murders kittens and is a pussy killer, in quotation marks. And that the reason we loved each other was that this turned me on. I literally had no idea what to say or do. I just stood there like a big gas while the crowd laughs at us. I don't think me or my friend said more than 2 words on stage, just stood in disbelief as the crowd laughs at us. I still have my wedding ring. The end.
The end. And they lived happily ever after. It's a DreamWorks movie. Shrek comes in. That's interesting. So, like, is that normal at the? I mean, I don't know anything about it for. So, is that normal for the chapel? Is that like? Is that they do weddings there? Is that like for real or is that fake? Yes. Like, what is that?
They're fake weddings.
Okay.
You can get married for real at Forest, I believe. But those ones at the chapel are fake. You can get married in the sense of like if you have someone that's like a real officiant, that kind of thing. Like I've heard of people getting married at Forest for real, but the ones in the chapel are like just for fun. Like I've heard other people get married, but the chapel is in the middle of the forest and there's always like the craziest things going on there. Like I remember walking in 2019, my ex and I were just popping in just to like see what was going on. And like we walk in, we're at the front of the entrance, and we just see the room divided, split in half. There's people on this side, people on this side. And all of a sudden, the people on the right side turn their backs to the people on the left and just flash them. Like, drop their pants
everyone
and just
did it?
flash. Yeah, everyone did it. And, like, there's a group of us in the back that are like, what the hell did we just walk in on? And then the other side goes and does it. So there's just, like, always random stuff that is going on at the chapel.
So it was like a legit flash mob.
Yeah.
Yeah. For real flash mob.
Real flash mob. And so, yeah, there's always just random stuff going on at that chapel that it's just like, if you go to Forest, like, you have to just pop in and see what's going on. Sometimes they have, like, actual meetups and stuff, but most of the time it's just, like, random performances, comedians, stuff like that, getting married, all sorts of stuff like that. So it's really funny reading this because, like, I totally get that that could happen. And, like, the people at Forest are always so good at like the people that are like characters or like people that like work for the festival are always so cool and fun about like making those experiences. Like, they talk about the person that was like marrying them. He came up with like some random story. Like, I could just totally see that happening. This is funny that it happened on the thunderstorm day. So this was on the final day of Electric Forest. It was around maybe like 5 or 6 o'clock. We just see these big clouds just start rolling in, and we're like, oh, it's happening today. Like, we kind of knew a thunderstorm was coming, but we just didn't know like what was gonna happen. And this is the first time like this has ever happened to me where I had to evacuate for weather. And so it starts pouring pretty hard. And I think I was at Grizz, B2B Musley Bear, and B2B someone else. And all of a sudden they just like black out the screen. They cut the music and they're like, everyone has to evacuate, go to your campgrounds, or like go to be in your car. Like, you can't be in the festival grounds, stuff like that.
Damn.
And so me and my friend Peyton, it was pretty chaotic. Like, it started pouring pretty hard and everyone just started running to like go back to the campgrounds. And it's funny that this person says that they were tripping probably during this, because I was thinking to like my friend Peyton, and I was like, I wonder if people are like coming up on like their trips or like whatever they took or like whatever. Like, this must be like so chaotic for them. Like, I can't imagine how overwhelming that would be.
Was it like bad, like lightning, thunder, like loud noises too?
Yeah,
that's the worst.
But it was only like 15 minutes or something, I want to say. Like, it didn't last too long, but we were still in our cars and stuff. But I remember walking back to camp, and this girl was just like, just dance in the rain, cleanse your soul, like all this like hippie stuff. And
people
she was
playing
just
in the
like,
mud and
yeah, she was like, be one with the earth and like all this stuff. And so that's just funny. That day was really funny. And then we ended up going back into the gates, and I think it was only like one artist got cut from like, or a couple artists in that time slot got cut, and then everything kind of got moved down. But I think I got in for like Zoo, and then we saw Rez. Base Nectar was that later on that day. And yeah, I can't imagine Electric Forest being someone's first festival though.
No, that's crazy. I mean, like even like a well-known artist for like your first concert is nuts. Like, because their level of production is so much different than like just any normal concert. Like, and it's so I can't imagine like going from nothing and then going to Electric Forest and then like going to a show after that and being like, oh, I like this. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm enjoying this. Like, I mean, yeah, you'd enjoy it, but it's just there's such a difference in like the music quality, the production, the lays, like everything. It's just like you get to see the best of the best from the get go. It's like going to Vegas for your first festival, which I mean I'm sure some people have, which is just like crazy to me.
Yeah, I've met some people where EDC Las Vegas is their first, and I'm like,
how do you go to a smaller fest after that? You know, like how do you not? I mean, I guess that's the thing is like you try to go to anything with like an open mind and be like, oh, everything's got their own vibe, everything's different. That's the only way I could see it working. Just as like when I go to different venues or different festivals, it's like, okay, this is different. This is Vegas, you have really high expectations because you're like, it's Vegas, everyone knows Vegas. But then some of the smaller ones, you're like, okay, this is supposed to be more like closed in, tight groups, and then smaller stages and stuff. I don't know how to explain that the best I can.
Yeah, I would have a tough time trying to like not compare between the two because I feel like I always have to like even today I even try and like not compare between festivals because it's so hard. So like I couldn't imagine if that was like my like big one having to go from that.
Yeah, it would definitely throw off my expectation, I think, because I would think like, oh, this is what all our festivals are like. Like it would kind of give me that like, oh my gosh, this is what people love about them. Like this is crazy. And then I would go to
Yeah.
a smaller one and be like, what the fuck was that? And not like anything against a smaller one, but I would be like, what is going on? Like why is this not the
Yeah.
same? But I don't know. It's interesting to go to like a bigger one to a smaller one. I kind of would love to see if anyone has any stories they could write in about like how they went to a small one first and went to a big one, like how that was compared. Give us an idea of what they think, because I know, like me, I went to like a medium sized one. I went to SMF for my first one, and then I started branching out from there. But that's like decent size.
I feel like for me I was like pretty gradual. Like I went to small, then medium to big,
What
I feel
what's the
like.
smallest one you've been to? I'm curious. Like, what would you think is like? What would you classify small? Let's start there.
Well, like Mad Decent Block Party was one stage. This was in 2015. It was one stage, maybe 1,000 people.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Okay, yeah, true,
I
true.
want to say.
I
And that was
know.
my first one. And then the second one I went to was Decadence, Arizona. That one was probably a little bit bigger,
Yeah, that's a good
2015.
medium sized one.
And that was like two stages. So I was going to all the Arizona ones for about a year. And then I went to Beyond Wonderland 2017. And that was like my first like Insomniac level production, bigger size in that way. Cause that one's like 4 stages, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like I was like, oh my god, the production, the decorations, the characters. I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane.
Dang, I wanted to fly out there last year, and we ended up doing Buku instead. But
I
it's
recommend.
okay.
I definitely recommend Beyond Wonderland at least once. Like it's the Alice in Wonderland theme, and like I don't know, I really love that one. I went again in 2018, and then after Beyond Wonderland, I went to Coachella. So I kind of had a gradual up
That is
into
very
like the
yeah. That's very like
medium,
getting
and
your
then I
way up
just
there.
went like straight up to like Coachella. Then I went to EDC. Then I went to like Austin City Limits, all in like 1 year, and all this stuff. And now it's like, okay, I like the bigger ones, but then I also can still appreciate those smaller ones too, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Like I said, they all kind of bring their own unique vibe to them, and
Yeah.
like I know, we like Forbidden Kingdoms down here in Florida, and that was like first year was like super small. Like you said, just one stage,
Yeah.
couple thousand people, and that was like awesome. It was everyone was right there. It was nice and close, and like intimate. The vibe was great. Then it expanded and got a little bit bigger, and it was still good. It was still good vibes, but like it's like, okay, where's it gonna go? Because like we've seen it from the beginning when it was one stage, so they're like, how big is it gonna get?
Yeah.
They partnered with Insomniac. It's like, okay, is it gonna get crazy now? Now they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna open the doors to another 20,000 people. It's like, oh, I kind of liked it, when it was that little festival that it was hard to get tickets
Yeah.
to, and but yeah, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, it definitely. I feel like once you go to the big ones, then you go to like some small ones, you kind of appreciate having like a more intimate kind of vibe too. Like I know I do for sure. Um, but yeah, if you guys have any stories about like ones that if you went to a big one at first and then now how you feel about small ones, or you were like me who was super gradual, definitely write in those. But this was a funny one with Electric Forest. Was there anything to add to this, Babs?
No, not in my book. I mean, I think it's funny that they do that, like the fake weddings. They let
Yeah.
you just grab random people and throw them up there, and it's like, hey, what's going on? Like, I can't imagine tripping balls and like having to like say these fake vows or something. So it was funny that like they probably had these stage lines that make it better too. It's like better for them to do it
Yeah.
than for you to do it. Like how funny. I don't think I could make it that funny. I think I would get like crack under pressure and be like, like I couldn't come up with anything because I'd be on the influence or something. So.
Well, Babs, maybe you'll just get married when you go to your first Electric Forest soon.
That's yeah, right. Woo. woo. I'm gonna come back and be like,
I'll
Mom,
be in
Dad, guess
attendance in the
what?
front
Woo.
row.
Witness, yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know.
I just can't wait to come back and like. I feel like Babs and I will like hang out at Forest, but like then I won't get to know his full story. So he'll just come back with all of these stories from Electric Forest, and we'll just have to like do a deep dive episode.
We could do that. We definitely, yeah. I'm tend to run around, so we'll see what happens. If I run around at a non-forest festival and I love nature, so I can't imagine like being in the woods. I'd be like a little fairy running around.
Yeah.
Yes, I said
can't
fairy.
wait.
So. All right, that's all I got.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for listening today. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, submit your stories, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.